Peter Jackson just announced a new movie, confirming that the original architects are back to reclaim the throne. That's right, Peter Jackson is officially returning to Middle-earth. The silence has finally broken with news every Tolkien fan has been praying for since 2003. Peter Jackson, Fran Walsh, and Philippa Boyens, the Holy Trinity, are officially returning to produce and write not only one, but two new live-action films for Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema. After years of fans feeling a bit disconnected from newer adaptations that lack the original creative DNA, having them back at the helm feels like the rightful kings have finally returned to claim their throne. And this isn't just some casual consulting gig either. They're the primary driving force behind the scripts and the overall vision. It sends a clear and powerful message that the studio is prioritizing the depth, heart, and aesthetic that made us all fall in love with Middle-earth in the first place. For the community, this represents a total restoration of the franchise's soul. Having the people who lived and breathed the Shire for a decade back in charge ensures the upcoming projects will respect the established movie canon. It's the ultimate trust me moment for a fan base that has been cautiously protective of Tolkien's legacy. But the biggest shock wasn't just about who was producing, but the familiar face they chose to actually lead the production from the director's chair. In a move that feels poetically right, Andy Serkis is not only returning to play his iconic role, he's also officially directing the first film titled The Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum. Serkis has spent the last 2 decades becoming a leading expert in performance capture and a highly capable director in his own right. Having him behind the lens is a stroke of pure genius because he knows the character of Gollum better than anybody on the planet. But more importantly, he understands Peter Jackson's directing philosophy from the inside out. This isn't a rookie taking a massive gamble on a beloved franchise. It's a seasoned veteran who served as the second unit director on the Hobbit trilogy, now getting the chance to lead. The film is currently aiming for a 2026 release, which means production will likely ramp up sooner than any of us think. Serkis has already expressed his immense excitement about returning to the character and the world, promising a story that honors the original films while exploring the deep, tragic psychology of Sméagol. On Tolkien Reading Day in March 2026, the announcement took a very personal turn when Peter Jackson released a video introducing his very special partner, the one, the only, the legendary Stephen Colbert. Now, for those of you who live under a rock and don't know, Colbert is a world-class Tolkien scholar who can quote the Silmarillion from memory. He revealed that he and his son, screenwriter Peter McGee, have been working with Jackson and Philippa Boyens for 2 years on a second film titled The Lord of the Rings: Shadows of the Past. Choosing Colbert to help break the news wasn't just a clever PR stunt. It was a strategic signal to the hardcore lore lovers. It tells the fans that the scripts are being handled by people who actually care about the source material and understand the specific flavor of Tolkien's writing. Colbert joked that he had to scrape his courage together for years before finally calling Jackson with his pitch, but the resulting collaboration has clearly reinvigorated the production team. By bringing in a superfan who understands the nuances of the books, they're bridging the gap between the Hollywood studio system and the dedicated academic community that keeps Tolkien's work alive. It's a rare moment where a fan's dream becomes reality. The first film, The Hunt for Gollum, is set in a very specific high-stakes window of time that the original movies mostly skipped over. It takes place during the 17-year gap between Bilbo's 111th birthday party and the moment Frodo actually leaves the Shire. During this long stretch, Gandalf becomes increasingly obsessed with finding Gollum before Sauron's spies can get to him, knowing the creature holds the absolute secret to the ring's current location. This isn't a reboot or a standard sequel. It's a sidequel that fills in the blanks of a desperate secret war happening in the shadows while the Shire remained blissfully unaware of the danger. It's a goldmine of untapped lore that Tolkien detailed extensively in the appendices but never made it to the big screen in full. We're going to see the darker, grittier side of Middle-earth as the hunt moves through the vales of Anduin and into the outskirts of Mirkwood. This timeline allows the filmmakers to explore a period where the threat of Sauron was growing but hadn't yet broken out into open warfare. It provides a perfect narrative bridge that deepens our understanding of the Fellowship's eventual mission and the extreme stakes involved. One of the biggest sighs of relief from the global fan base came with the official confirmation that these movies are headed back to New Zealand. This means a return to the sweeping real-world landscapes that defined the look of the original trilogy. Serkis has already teased that they'll be reuniting the filmmaking family, which hints at a move away from the heavy green screen aesthetics that some felt bogged down the later Hobbit films. We're talking about the potential for practical orc makeup, hand-forged armor from Weta Workshop, and that lived-in grit that made the original films feel like a historical documentary rather than a digital spectacle. Returning to the original filming locations provides an immediate sense of continuity that simply can't be faked in a studio. The lighting, the textures, and the sheer scale of the New Zealand wilderness are all a part of the franchise's DNA. Fans are hoping this signals a return to the miniatures and bigatures era, where the physical world felt tangible and dangerous. By committing to these locations, the production team is essentially promising to recapture the lightning in a bottle that made the first movies feel so grounded and authentic. It's a recommitment to the craft. Okay, because the hunt for Gollum focuses on the search for the creature, it's almost impossible to tell his story without featuring Gandalf and Aragorn. Now this has sent the rumor mill into overdrive, with Ian McKellen already confirming he's been approached to pick up the staff once more. The second project, Shadows of the Past, is even more intriguing as it reportedly follows Sam, Merry, and Pippin 14 years after Frodo's departure as they retrace their original steps. This leaves the door wide open for a massive on-screen reunion of the original cast, potentially using advanced de-aging technology to bring the legendary heroes back to their prime. Elijah Wood and Viggo Mortensen have both expressed a deep love for the characters, and while no official casting is set for their roles, the involvement of the original creative team makes their return feel like a real possibility. The challenge will be balancing the nostalgia of seeing the original actors with the technical hurdles of making them look 2 decades younger. However, for most fans, no one else could ever wear these cloaks or wield these swords. The prospect of seeing the Fellowship together one last time is the ultimate hook for these new projects. Let's be real, at the end of the day, these massive announcements represent a pivotal shift back to the soul of Tolkien's world. By focusing on Gollum, the most tragic and complex figure in the entire Legendarium, and the missing chapters of the Shire's history, Jackson and Serkis aren't just trying to sell movie tickets, they're trying to finish the map. There's always a risk of oversaturating a beloved world, but with the original writers and the world's most prominent Tolkien scholar in the writer's room, the odds are finally in our favor as fans. This feels a lot less like a corporate franchise expansion and more like a passion project that's been brewing in the Shire for way too long. It's an opportunity to see the parts of the story that were left on the cutting room floor decades ago, finally given the space they deserve on the big screen. As the cameras prepare to roll once again in the mountains of New Zealand, the excitement is real. We're witnessing a rare moment in cinema where the original creators get to return to their masterpiece to add the final, intricate brushstrokes. And whether you're a casual fan or a lore expert, the return to Middle-earth is definitely officially underway. But does the return of the original team make you more excited, or are you worried that some stories are better left untouched, that some of the magic might have been lost along the way? Let us know what you think in the comments down below.